You are in the Warriors Huddle with me, Bram. No Maxime today, but with me per usual, my boy and producer Marcus.
What's up, Dub Nation?
MT, I couldn't be more fired up to announce that the first time in the Warriors Huddle, the man who set a collegiate record in block shots with 492, despite only playing 3 seasons at Colgate, the founder of Democracy Matters, a nonpartisan student organization that is active on more than 80 college campuses today, the 8th pick in the 1997 draft to your Golden State Warriors, the player who blocked more shots in a Warriors jersey than anyone at any time ever, with 1,140, one of only 8 NBA players in history who was inducted into the World Sports Humanitarian Hall of Fame, and a guy who has done so much on and off the floor that his home nation of St. Vincent has honored him with his own national postage stamp, Mr. Adonal Foyle. What's going on, Adonal?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for that awesome introduction, man. That's really good to meet you guys.
So I'm not good at new things. I don't try new restaurants. I go to like Alameda and I get nervous. What's it like going from St. Vincent and then being a high profile athlete in a huge setting like New York? What's that transition feel like?
I don't know if there is a transition, right? So when you think about, I came from an island of about, and Canawan, there was probably about 700-800 people when I was growing up. And Union, we had like a booming metropolis, which is about probably 5,000 people. So to leave the Caribbean and to end up in beat upstate New York and Philadelphia, I mean, the first thing that I just was not ready for, and they straight up lied to me. So I went to Hamilton, New York in the summer in August. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And in the first year, we had a blizzard, which had more snow than ever in the history of Hamilton, which is insane. And then the next year, they had another blizzard, which had more snow than the year before. So I remember calling my mom and saying, I think they're trying to kill me. The whole country is frozen. So for an island person, it was pretty daunting, to come to the States and to be in a school. Cardinal O'Hara High School, my first year in the States, had over 3,000 people in that school. So more people than all my islands combined.
Did you pretend like it wasn't a giant switch, or was it as weird as I would imagine?
Yeah, let's just put it this way. The first time a kid asked me when I first came to the States to sign an autograph, I bust out laughing and ran away. And the kids start crying in a puddle. I remember my poor dad, he was like, you got to sign the thing. And I'm like, why? This is so stupid. You want me to sign my name? It's like I had no cultural awareness. And I think in many ways, I think that was good because I kind of saw that people were drawn to the game and that we had a responsibility, I think, as athletes as to how we engage with the public. And that has been one of the things that I think defined my career, because I understood in that instant that that kid was seeing me as something that they want to emulate, and how I respond is so very important. And I think it will become part of how I respond throughout my career, which is always assume that when you get to meet a fan, that this is an incredible thing, that somebody know of you, like you, maybe even like the way you play defense. I may not even like you, but you have an opportunity to engage with them and hopefully make them into a lifelong, believer in basketball.
All right, let's go back off the floor. In 2001, you found Democracy Matters. What is Democracy Matters? Just to tell us about that a little bit.
I'm obsessed with fairness, and I'm obsessed with people having a voice. So when I first got into the league, I started studying the issue about money in politics. I heard people say all the time is that the majority of the wealth is concentrated in the hands of less than 1% of the population. And I think in 2010, the Supreme Court passed a decision called Citizen United. And they basically pretty much said that money is speech, so that anybody who wants to spend money could spend it because it's speech. So your money is like talking. What it implies is that if you have more money than the other person, you get to speak more than the other person. So Democracy Matters really was this idea that to advocate for campaign finance reform. And that is basically saying to the world, we need a system where good ideas dominate, rather than money. Money cannot be the determinant of who get elected into office, regardless of policies.
I wonder if there would ever be a benefit to having the equivalent of a salary cap to a political
That's
candidate.
what kind of what we're fighting for. Yeah. So
nice.
In a democracy, we need to know who is backing the people that we're about to vote for. We need to have visibility. The Supreme Court really needs to overturn the Citizen United decision. If you want to let people give as much money as they want to a political system, I'm in favor of that. We should know about it. It shouldn't be dark money.
When you landed the salary cap line, when you said that they should put a salary cap on here, and then Adonal said, yeah, that's actually what we're fighting for. Even though I was off screen, I thought to myself, fuck, he got that one on the money. So, I mean, what am I going to tell you, man? I am a crazy person. Back to you, Adonal. What is it about giving back to the community that speaks to you so much?
When I was growing up, every time my grandmother would cook a meal, she would have nothing to cook, and then she would find something and she would cook a meal. And then all the neighbors would show up and she would give them and feed all of them. And I'll be in the corner just being really salty about the whole thing because I'm looking at all my chicken is going out the door and given to somebody else. One day I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, well, you keep giving away all the food. We don't have that much food. And she says, tomorrow we might need them to help feed us. Up with that background, understanding the power of influence, I felt like, the part of the moral imperative of an athlete, people come watch us play. They spend their hard-earned money to watch us play. The least you can do is to be a good citizen to the world.
So the 10th annual Swinging for Kids golf tournament coming up. It's a thing that you've put together.
One of the things that we've been doing is really just trying to golf, raise funds for the foundation. We've been doing a lot of amazing work. We do everything from literacy, the importance of reading, and to education around peer pressure, to making sure kids have backpack when they're going back to school, to providing scholarship opportunities for kids going to college. The golf tournament is a way for us to raise funds and come together. And we've been doing it for 10 years in the Bay Area and some of the most amazing courses. This year, we are Crow Canyon Country Club in Danville and August 7th. I am a horrible golfer, so you don't want to see my stroke. Charles Barkley's stroke will be a genius compared to mine.
I wish I couldn't associate with that. If you need someone to make you look good, invite me next year. I'll stand next to you and you'll look like Tiger Woods. Chris Mullen, Kent Bazemore, you got Ian Clark this year. Let me summarize it this way. And it's just with a thank you, Adonal. I've been a Warrior fan my entire life. I remember when you got drafted, I remember throwing a high five to my friend Dan in his dorm room, and we got all he was renting a spot in a dorm over the summer. And I remember celebrating your draft pick. So between what you've done for the team and for the community, let me abuse my power here in this microphone and thank you specifically because I genuinely appreciate it. It leads to the Warriors. So you get drafted in 97 and you're the 8th pick, and the team isn't necessarily in a great place. They're coming off 30 wins and you have a brand new coach in PJ Carlesimo. What stuck out to me was that 6 months after you get drafted, the Sprewell PJ Carlesimo choking happens. So you coming from Colgate, your career's going fine, came from St. Vincent, New York, Colgate. 6 months into this thing, you're figuring out this new coach, and then there's a choking incident.
As you said, it looked down really, really quickly. It's like all I remember from that day, the shock and the horror. I have seen a lot in my life. That was probably one of the most disturbing, psychologically damaging thing I've ever seen. As a matter of fact, I think like a few months after that, I signed up for my master's in sports psychology because I had to understand how that's possible. I could not figure out why another person could do that to somebody else.
I remember close-ups of PJ's neck, pictures of it being published. And you could see it wasn't the squeeze marks. It was the scratches that ran long. And what it screamed, I've never been in like CSI, but it would scream is that someone was trying to pull him off, and it scratched him as he was getting pulled off. They couldn't get his fingers off. MT, if that's you, all right, you're a rookie, you're doing well, 8th pick, you're a part of the future. And then that crazy shit happens. What do you do? How do you handle it?
I try to move to the Premier League and switch sports.
Yeah. Adonal, you may have noticed that the whole brotherhood thing got thrown out the window there.
Yeah,
We didn't hear
exactly.
anything about, I would root for everybody.
That's where it ends.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, suddenly he's a soccer player. Picking up your career with the Warriors. Yeah, so you're also a member of that We Believe team. Any memories that stick out from that year, that experience?
Oh, that was probably one of the most frustrating and amazing year of basketball for me. I think my first week in practice, when Dan Nelson came back, I think he told me, he says, "You suck. You're never going to play for me. You might as well sit somewhere," right? So I'm like, I'm enjoying this. I think he was having a cigar outside the practice facility. And he's telling me this, and I'm thinking, you might as well just give me a cigar then, so we could just sit have a cigar. I'm like, if I'm not going to play, might as well have a really good cigar. But I think what was amazing about the season is that we had a group of guys that came together. And I remember guys starting to say, why can't we do this? We could do this. The atmosphere was so unbelievable. I mean, Oracle was just trembling. The whole experience, that whole year, just not being there at the end of the season, having, I think, 10 days before the end of the season, and getting into the playoff and doing what we did. So for me, it was one of the most amazing experiences.
What do you see the difference under when you first started that first year? And they were winning less than 20 games, and then where they are now. What do you attribute some of the success to?
I think that you cannot deny the ability to draft, right? When you think about a team that is able to kind of protect its draftees and give them an environment in which that they can blossom, and to have continuity, to have the same coach. I don't even know. Like, I couldn't even tell you in order how many coaches I had over the years. I'll be over here for a while. I want to, but to have somebody in Steve Kerr and to really. So the thing that I've always been frustrated with the Warriors is that when you have those kind of turnovers, what you don't get to create is a culture. I think one of the things the Warriors have done well, they drafted well. They've committed to a long-term coach and players, and invested in the organization, from having now their own stadium to really getting guys to be individual entities. Steve Kerr is one of the first people that brought in 25 different coaches to make sure every single player on the team has a coach. When you look at this team, when you look at Draymond, you look at Clay, you look at Steph, Looney, these are guys that they're not basketball players as they understand how to build community. They understand that it's not all about them. And that is a hard thing to do.
The internal confidence that requires, that's a hard damn thing to do. I'm not sure I would be able to do it.
I don't know if I could do it either.
Yeah, to no one's surprise, I can't even give Margaret any credit. So if you had access to a time machine and you could put any member, any Warrior that you played with on this current team, who would you put on there?
You got to put the flipper. I got to put Antoine in there. I mean, to get an inside presence, that a guy that can score 30 points without having to dribble. I mean, it's like Clay in the three, Antoine in the paint, just flip it up.
Yeah, he would. And the spacing that Steph creates, Antoine would murder him.
He would murder, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm kind of curious about this, because imagine if you had Chris Mullin coming off the bench.
Let's go. I'm
like, we'll score like 500 points a game.
Hey, I'm in. I tell you what, as someone who lost years of his life watching that Lakers series loss and us just missing three-pointer after three-pointer, the idea of an inside presence, you've got my attention, man. Let's get that time machine built.
And I heard that there is a Foyle kid that blocks shots a lot. He might help.
Okay, what we need is interior defense, Adonal. I will tell you that would be my idea, but I was hoping to make you be pompous somehow. Like,
you know what I want? I tell you what I wanted to do, right? My biggest thing is like blocking a shot and just outletting it to Steph, and he doesn't take a dribble and just shoot from half court. And I think I can do that like 10 times.
You can too.
Steph would love me. It doesn't matter what Steve wants to do, because Steph will love me because I keep giving him easy baskets. So I would love to do that. Just set a pick for Steph and just have him have like a 3-pointer that wins the game. And I set that pick. I'll be running around like a crazy person like I did it.
Look, you've got our support, but more importantly, You are former teammates with the GM. Give Mike D a call. I think we can make this thing happen here.
We can make this go. I got to talk to Mike, man. I got to talk
our
to
support.
Mike.
Last segment. Your team is down 1 point, 5 seconds left. You can pick one player to take that final shot. Who do you pick?
I am going to take Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I've been around the game for a very long time, and I have not seen anybody been able to shoot that hook shot, much as stop that hook shot. That man could get that shot off anytime in any situations.
The most objectively unstoppable shot in the history of the game. Take me to the other side. Jordan is going to the hole, getting ready to dunk. You get to pick one player to try to block that shot. Who do you pick?
Ooh, I did get him one time, but he did got Patrick really badly. I'm going to go with, this is a hard one. You know what? I will go with Mark Eaton.
Oh, let's go. Jazz center. Just because of enormity? Just because he's that
enormity. You have to climb a mountain to get that shot. I don't care how much Michael jumped. He doesn't have to jump. He'd be up there. He was a big man, man. I remember like standing next to him and just looking up like, oh my God.
He had an enormous head, is what I remember. If you had said Adonal, and I was really hoping you were going to say Adonal.
I know. I thought about it.
I could see it. I could see it in your eyes.
I've had a few of them, and Michael, he's hard because he's like, he could change. He and Kobe had this ability. Like I always able to time what a guy is going to do with the ball at the last minute. But Michael and Kobe, they had this ability at the last minute to just change what they're going to do. And that is, for a shot blocker, we like predictability. I need to know where you're going to be and how you're going to put the ball. So bringing the ball in, pushing it out, it's very hard in terms of timing. But I look at Mark Blacken's shot. I mean, he can reach over the basket. So I figure I'll let him go out and block Michael.
Here's last question. All right. So terrible news, bad news. There has been a series of misunderstandings. And because of those misunderstandings, suddenly, Adonal, you have to fight Shaquille O'Neal in a dark alley. All right. That's the bad news. Good news is, if you want it, I normally ask this to people much smaller than you. So you may not want somebody, but if you want it, you get to bring anyone you want in that fight with you. Who would you bring to have your back?
Charles Oakley.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, let's go. Give me a why. Why Oak?
I mean, that man was a beast. He's not afraid of anybody. He is tough. He hits you every single time. He's not afraid to take a punch. You could run at him. I remember like hitting him one time. He just stood there like, what? I'm like, sorry, sir.
The great response. This was a ton of fun. I am positive I'm not the only one feeling that way. For people who need far more Adonal Foyle in their life, where do they go?
So we have, we can do a Foyle 3131, obviously, in our social media platform. But, for me, I'm everywhere, man. Just hit me up on Facebook. Hit me up anywhere you see me. It's always a Foyle 3131.
Let's go. We appreciate it. For us, I'll keep it fast. We will be out celebrating the brotherhood of the NBA everywhere you can find us. With that in mind, go Warriors, and hopefully see you real soon.